What is real? How do you define real?
Like everyone else, you were born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
The Fashion Matrix Podcast with Pablo Mentor.
Wake up and be free.
Welcome everyone to the Fashion Matrix Podcast. This is your host, Pablo Mentor, and goddamn, I'm excited to have a very special guest, someone who is, you guys know me, right? I'm always keeping it real. I'm always keeping it raw. I don't give a fuck what I say. I don't give a fuck if I get censored. And because of that, I don't always bring just anybody. And I'm very excited for this special guest because he's one of those guys that keeps it real, that knows about the fucked up society that we live in, and he doesn't shut up. So without any further ado, let me introduce to you Larry Parra, or AKA Weaponizing Truth. He's a digital creator. He's a truth seeker. He's a truth warrior. And before I pass it to you, bro, I just want to let you guys know how I got into your account, right? I've been following you for some time now, maybe a year or something. I think so, or months. I'm not so sure, but I do remember that when this whole pandemic started, I don't know if the algorithm or something on fucking Instagram showed me your posts, and I saw it. I was like, damn, this is cool. This is very, very cool. And this is truth, right? Because I was also sharing most of these things, and I've always been into that shit, into all the dark truths and all that. And I saw it, and I thought it was truth, because most of these pages, they just reshare, and they just say without even checking if it's true or not, they just fucking share it because it gets likes or whatever. And then I saw that what you're posting, I don't know if it's original content, most of it, I think, but I'll pass it to you and you can explain that. And it was truth, so it resonated with me, and I was like, man, we don't see this enough. People sharing some deep truths that are most of the times are nasty, are evil,
Right,
so
for sure.
I saw it and I was like, man, this is what's up. So I started sharing, and I started posting you over there, and I started following you, and I fell in love with your page, and I fell in love with your content. So Larry Parra, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, brother. Hey, first of all, I'm glad to be here. This is my very first podcast, so I'm super stoked, and I'm honored to be here, for sure, man. And I've seen your page too, so I love your content. You're on the conscious tip. You're spreading truth, and then you also throw the fashion in there, so that always helps, So yeah, man. Thank you for having me, man. So yeah, like talking about what you're talking about, asking what you're saying was, I started doing. When I first became conscious about the government corruption and whatnot, it was kind of around 9/11. I was in 8th grade, and some kids were talking about a plane hitting a building, and we went to school, seen it on TV and whatnot, ended up going home. And then as I got older, started looking into corruption, as it started really, honestly, it started as being a minority with the police corruption. I seen the corruption in the police department and the way it treated minorities. And so I was like, man, these police are corrupt, we're always getting mistreated and whatnot. And so that's when my eyes first started opening up to corruption. And that was at the first level, right? So then we started seeing the government corruption, and it all kind of just correlated together.
So how old were you? I mean, you were pretty young when you started following all this stuff, right?
Yeah, I was in 8th grade, so I was about 12 years old.
Damn.
Yeah, so
that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, and then like I said, I just always aware of corruption and oppression of different levels of government or authority, whether it is government or police. And so when I came onto social media, I started seeing, of course, you started seeing the memes come out and things like that in the post, and I was more interested in the fact of getting people's attention on something that actually meant something, some conscious truth seed that would open their mind in some way, even a spark, And so with making these memes, it really helps people think of those things.
It cracks me up, bro, because I mean, I understand as a teacher and all that that you have to be in a way, and you understand that. Otherwise, you wouldn't been doing the memes. You have to keep it in a way light and entertain people, and that's the
Right.
way that actually, like you're saying in your page, weaponizing truth. You're weaponizing it, right, through
Right.
memes. And you're actually saying and sharing some truth and teaching people and letting them know what's going on. That I find that amazing. But before we get into that, into your page, I want to know a little bit more about you, man, and your story, because that's pretty interesting. That at a very early age, you already had like this awareness, whereas most people, they don't give a fuck, right? They're like,
Right.
whatever, man. It's just in your mind, and let's just get fucked up, and whatever. I mean, not to say that we didn't do stupid shit. I know I did a lot of stupid shit,
Me too.
but that level of awareness, right? That level of awareness, that's rare to find, bro. So when you started noticing these patterns and all these bullshit and the corruption and all these things, probably one thing led to another, right? Did you talk about it with your friends, with your family, or how it all started?
Yeah, I would bring it up to friends and family. Some of them actually experienced some of these situations with me. For example,
Of
me and
course.
my wife, we were pulled over by the police for bumping music too loud or playing music too loud, and the police actually flipped a bitch and came back around, and I could see him coming towards us. So we're like, oh crap, here comes the police. So we slow down. We already know they're coming towards us. The guy gets out, and like I said, the oppression doesn't matter if it's a colored person or a minority. There's actually a young Mexican guy gets out of the police officer. He gets out of the police car and tells me, hey, I'm just here to fuck with you. And this was before
No
body
way.
cams. Yeah, this was before body cameras and dash cams and all that stuff.
Wow. Yeah, of course. Wow, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I
Damn.
could have had like lawsuits on these people, but at the time, I wasn't too conscious about what I could do with my power and my
Of
rights.
course.
So
Yeah, of
yeah.
course, of course. Yeah, no, well, but that of course, man, that's horrible. That in a way, in quotes, your own people, right? That's how they get you, man. Your own fucking people is the one that fucks with you, man. That's so stupid. So you
Right.
were very vocal about it, right? I can I I can imagine that you were going against all these
Right.
corruption.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been outspoken. It seems like I've always been going against the grain, even in small situations. To be example, is at work. One of the guys
Mm.
was being mistreated. He was told he had to sit at the factory and wait there off the clock for 3 hours until another job started. And I was like, yo, that's so illegal. He has to pay you for the time you're sitting there. And even if you're not doing nothing and the job doesn't start for 3 hours, that's not your fault. And he said, oh, it's okay. He's gonna give me a pizza card. And I was like, yo, like and he was a young guy. So of course he's not thinking. He's like you
Yeah,
said, people don't care. Fuck it. And
yeah.
then
I'm gonna get a
I'm like,
pizza. Fuck it.
right,
No.
I'm like, bro, your overtime is gonna be double the amount of that pizza card.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so my boss comes to me and he says, hey man, I don't like the way you're doing what you're doing in my company. You're bringing down the morale and this and that. And and so yeah, I'm like, man, I'm not bringing down the morale. I'm just trying to tell this dude like, breaking a law and that's illegal. And I told him. And long story short, I didn't last too long at that company. So
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine it, man. I mean, I resonate so much with that and the things that you say, because I've always been the black sheep, also in my family and jobs and anything. Because man, it's not that the way that they present it, or they present people like you or I or maybe your friends and our friends, is they try to portray you with a bad image. You know what I'm saying? It's that you're a rebel, that you're a troublemaker. When in reality, you're just looking at the bullshit and you're not shut up, right? You're saying something, and it's
exactly.
so simple, man. It's so simple, yet we don't see a lot of people doing it. So here's another question for you before we get into your content, the things that you're doing, man. And at any point, if you want to say anything else, just interrupt me, man. Uh, what would you say, or what what's the number one reason, if you can put it in one word? It's a very complicated question, on why people are not outspoken like you and I. Why are they're not either perceiving the truths that you and I know about, because it's in their face. I know that they're seeing it, but what do you think is happening that they don't talk about it? They don't want to see it. What's
You
what do you
know,
think?
I think a lot of it has to do with, I mean, it could be a number of variables.
Yeah.
It could be the fluoride, the chemicals in the water making people docile. Their
Boom.
pineal glands are calcified and they're cowards, you know, they don't want to fight back. So it could be something like that. It could be mental conditioning, or you know, you've heard of the bystander effect, where people watch something horrible go by and there's multiple people watching it, but nobody wants to stand up and do anything.
Yeah.
And you can see somebody getting murdered right in front of you and no one wants to be that person to stop that person. And that's kind of how the government is, you know, they're sitting there murdering people every day, but nobody just says anything. Nobody wants to say anything. So I think things like that could be a factor in it. You know, it's really hard to say with people nowadays and these apps and things like that, you know, but I really do believe it's just more of the bystander effect. You know, people just don't want to be that 1% to stop the 99% of the bullshit. They say that we're the 99% and they're the 1%, but you know, that means we have more power if you think of it, you know. So
Yeah, that's what really gets me, man. We are way more than the people in quotes on power. We could fucking destroy them the moment you realize it, like stand up and be like, man, you ain't nothing, right? But
exactly.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I think it's gotta be the way that I see it. It's a number of things. It's a very complicated question because it's a number of things. It's diet, the fluoride, and the all the things. Music. Sometimes the music that people hear, it's they're being conditioned to be scared, right? Even with the pandemic, we saw it right now being played again and again. How they kept all society on this fucking vibration of scarcity, of being afraid of their own selves, literally. I'm like, wait, what the hell? We literally saw it again. So you mentioned something very important. The apps, man. The apps and the social media and everything that is going on. I think that's a tool. We know it's a tool to hypnotize us. We already know that through certain flashes. I forget the number. It was a CIA experiment. I forgot the name of it right now. But through the TV, they sent like very quick flashes of light while you're watching your TV show and whatever. And they condition you. They can actually hypnotize you. And they send subliminal messages and all that. So many flashes of light, right? And I know that this happens with this shit as well. And it doesn't matter. Even though I have an organoid here to prevent all this shit, I know that it still happens. But every now and then, we know that social media is here anyway. Every now and then, we come across someone like you that uses these tools against them, right? And instead of being like, oh no, fuck, man, I don't want to use this, you say, oh no, I'm going to use this as a tool. You motherfuckers watch. So walk me through that. How it started, man. Why did you start it? Why did you call it Weaponizing Truth? Tell me your story.
Okay, so you know, the way I see it is the human attention span has become so worn down and so short. That's why these memes actually make a difference, and that's why they're so hard on actually censoring something so small as a meme. These memes actually hold a lot of information in a short time, so I think that helps people. And with the TikTok and the short videos, it shortens people's attention span. So we need these memes and these posts to actually correlate with people's content, you know. And so we kind of have to hide the truth in some type of like sarcastic kind of way. And so that actually helps. But I've been censored before, so this is my third account, and then I'm on so this is my third account, and then I have one personal account. I might make a couple backups, but you know, it's a lot of work doing that stuff, so it's really hard, you know.
I feel you, man. So wait, hold on a second. You've been banned before, and when was this, man?
So I started in I actually started making, I would call them conscious memes in about 2018, 2019.
Boom,
and
you're a veterano, man.
Yeah, so then I started getting banned in 2018. I made it up to like 1,500 people and it got banned. And then the second account made it up to 18,000 people, and then it got censored, you know. Wow. But coming up to when you have followers like that, you know, the way I see it is most of them are going to be robots anyway. Yeah. And if they're really about that content, then they're going to find you again anyway if they're a real follower, you know. So you can't really be too hard on losing followers. You know, they're always going to be there. And you know, that's not the thing. Like, so my account actually reaches more people than I have following. So that's why I keep it not private. And I want those messages to go out, even if they don't follow the account. It's just about getting the message out there ultimately.
Exactly. Yeah, man, that's so important, because sometimes people just do it for the likes or the follows, And really, it doesn't matter, man. What it matters is the message that you're trying to transmit, right? Well, at least that's how I say it. That's how I see it. And you're right. Your level of engagement, I would bet that is way higher than the actual followers that you have because of this
Right.
fucking censorship, right? This has happened to me, man. Like I have so many followers, and then I get more interactions, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. How am I being censored and my following is not getting up, but my interactions and the engagement of people clicking on the things that I put, or that they can react to your stories and all that. I get more interactions, and I'm like, man, it doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm getting more interactions, more than the followers that I have. It is fucking stupid. This algorithm is a pain in the ass.
So what I
don't
think it
get
is, I've noticed is when people share your post from the share button to other accounts, maybe a story or a direct message, then the algorithm is just shooking a little bit. So then those posts do get seen more.
Oh, okay. You hear that, guys? Okay, so by the end of this podcast, you gotta share his thing. I'm gonna leave everything on the description box, of course, but it's at Weaponizing Truth. Share everything that he's saying and everything that he's posting, because not just because I say it or because he said it, it's because actually look at it. Take a conscious look at what he's posting, and he's absolutely beautiful, funny, and truthful. Right? It's the truth. And if you guys want to help out someone who is being censored as well, like I am, then share what the fuck we're saying right now. Okay, but I didn't know that, man, that you can actually by sharing it and sharing it. I thought that is by leaving comments.
That helps.
I heard it by someone that you leave a comment, but not just an emoji, right? That you have to actually write something, and that fucks up the algorithm or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I just know that by just kind of just studying the fluctuation in my posts that got shared.
Okay. Cool. There you
If
go,
I see them shared more often, then those posts actually reached more. It works out that way. And then
So-
going back to what you were saying about some of the content, about being original content. So
Yeah.
what I do to try to keep it original is you may see an image of a meme that's very popular. I would call it a trending meme.
Yeah.
And since that meme is trending and is very popular and everyone automatically knows that meme,
Yeah.
you want to add something that's conscious to that meme to get them to think something different when they see that post, That's just how I plant the seeds. That's the way I think of it anyway,
No, that's amazing, man. That's true. I started doing that also when I got started on my YouTube. I remember that I would pick whatever trending topic that, this fight or the Oscars or whatever the fuck, what the bullshit that just happened in the Oscars. I would get that. It's kind of like a clickbait bullshit, but I would use that to get the attention of people and then talk about my shit. Right?
You have to.
So I think that's a very smart way of doing it, man. Because you're right. You are absolutely right. When people, the span attention of people, it's less than a second now. I mean, it'd be like what, 10 seconds or something like that, 8 seconds, between 8 to 10 seconds. Now it's what, 1 to 3 seconds. I mean, you have no time to grab someone's attention. That's bullshit.
Right. So so that's why we have to be out here in the social medias and just trying to trick people to wake up,
Exactly. That's why we're doing what we're doing, right? Because we want to.
Yeah.
What also inspires me about you is that you're doing it for a good reason, right? You really want to see people waking up, because
For sure.
the way that I see it, and I'll pass it back to you because I want to know your reason behind it. The way that I perceive it and why I keep doing it is because it's not just some righteousness and some high morality or something like that. I mean, yeah, once you get to a certain level, certain point, you perceive things differently, right? With a higher consciousness, if that makes sense. But also, I'm a little bit selfish on that, because I know that if you do good, I'm gonna be good too. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna go outside of your own way just to fuck with me, because you're doing good. And when everyone is doing good, everyone is living their best, becoming the best version of themselves, like I always say, there's no time to hate and to bullshit and to do stupid things. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's why I also want to help people, hey, elevate yourself, wake the fuck up. And that's the way, that's the path for you to become a better version. If you're better, it's not that you're going to do something for me. You're going to give me money, or you're going to, no, don't do anything. Just you be good. By virtue of that, you'll inspire others, and society, maybe I'm being a little bit of a dreamer, but that's the way that society changes. Maybe. What about you, my man?
Yeah, I mean, that's how we have to change things little by little, even if it's tricking someone to reading a meme or taking our time to create these content for the social medias. I love what you're doing with the podcast and the fashion, and so, even with things like with the fashion, is one of the topics I wanted to talk to you about,
Yeah.
correlating to fashion, to consciousness. The way I see it was even high priests and pharaohs and shaman, they wore certain garments and certain attire to make themselves seem, like they know what they're doing. Obviously, you don't want to be wearing just some ragged things, if you're trying to teach somebody something. They want to look up to you and be inspired by you. So,
Absolutely, yeah. That's so true, man. Because I have tons of content on this, but yeah, fashion people, that I trick them into thinking, oh, it's all about looking good. No. Okay, yeah, you clicked on the video or you bought the master class, whatever, but it's actually way deeper. How it all got started. It goes back even to the Anunnakis on how society was invented. They were wearing certain things because each garment has a vibration, right? Each garment
right.
has its own energy. So you embody that. So the fashion started with necklaces, with jewelry, rather than when people always think, oh, it was because of the weather. They were cold. They were running around butt naked, and they got cold, so they wore something. No. The first form of fashion, the very first, if you really study hard the history, the real history, not the bullshit that you and I know that they try to teach you, right? We can talk about that in a moment. Is garments, man. Like accessories and all that, because that's the way that the alphas, the leaders, would distinguish themselves, and the priests, they would know. Oh, so they were wearing bones and all that because they would embody the energy of the animal or the plant or whatever. So they would actually have that, and that's how they would. It's the first form of communication. Before actual language was invented, the first form of communication was visual stimuli, right? Stimulus. And then that's how he's the leader, he's the priest, and they would get a vibration of what that person was all about. Or even the tribe, if the tribe was wearing wolf pets, they were, that's the tribe of wolves, that's the wolf pack or something like that, right? That's how it started. So that's very deep, very amazing history about fashion. It's something so simple. When people think fashion is like, oh, you just want to be cool and look good. Hell no, man. You're wearing a vibration, right?
Exactly. Even the colors, the psychological issues that colors bring to people's minds, so those things do correlate to each other.
Of course. And in a way, I'm doing the same thing that you're doing with tricking. We say that word, maybe enticing people, maybe would be a better word instead of tricking. Like we are grabbing their attention to be like, oh yeah, look at this, and then boom, we hit them with a jab, and then boom, a right one to see the actual truth. Because there's a word that, and maybe you can talk about this a little bit more. It's I forgot, when they see a truth that they cannot deny it with facts, no emotions, right? Because I think a lot of people are very emotional in today's world, right? So even when you, for example, we can talk about the pandemic. I would talk to my family. I would talk to people around me. And like, hey, this is the fact. These are the facts. I'm not talking about what I think about. I'm not talking about my opinion. I'm just catching their own bullshit. They say this and then they say that. And that, if you compare them, it doesn't make any sense. Look at the fucking facts and the numbers, right?
Exactly.
Cognitive dissonance, cognitive. How do you say it?
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, that's the word, right? Can you talk about that a little bit more, man?
Yeah, so cognitive dissonance is like, pretty much long word short is something that shakes up your whole belief system. Something that you were taught is going to go completely against what you were taught, or something that goes completely against what you know. And that can be hard. I was raised in a Bible school, as a Christian. I'm not a Christian now. I don't claim to be a Christian now. I've found a lot of fallacies in religions and a lot of hypocrisies in religions that make them, not really for me personally. I don't want to go what anyone else has to do, but, for me personally. And so studying those things, kind of at the time was like, yo, this doesn't make sense. It kind of messed me up, but I was always open-minded, you know. Maybe it's kind of like with my zodiac sign. I don't know. I'm a Gemini. I'm always self-evaluating myself. I'm always doing different things with my mind. And so I try to see different sides of it. And what really opened my mind to it was knowing that even though what I thought I knew, it felt wrong. And that's cognitive dissonance. You can kind of be like, to me anyway, like I said, I don't know how other people think of it, but I do know how it feels at the time when I was first coming into reality of the truth. Like you said, the histories, the lies in the history and things like that, man, you're just like, whoa, everything I was taught was a lie. And so that could hurt, you know, that could make you feel pissed off and frustrated naturally.
Yeah. It literally pisses you off. I think that's the first step, right? To get angry at all this bullshit. Like, man, I've been lied so much. And then you move forward, right? Yeah, but the first emotion for sure, you gotta be angry at this bullshit, right? We've been lied by the government, we've been lied by the pharmaceutical industries, by doctors, by the history, by everything we thought we knew is actual bullshit. So you're like, you think you're crazy. I don't know if this happened to you also, being what's the word? Oh man, I forgot the fucking word, man. You're making me nervous, man. I'm forgetting my fucking English. God damn. No, you know, when you're left alone, there's a word for it, but because of the things that you say, because of your beliefs, and because of what you're doing, people think you're crazy, right? People feel like, oh, man, here he goes, Larry again with his conspiracy theories, and he's fucking crazy, man, whatever, right? Can you talk about that a little bit, man?
Yeah, man, my personal life is pretty funny. You know, like I said, I'm like a living meme, bro. I'm just like walking around saying
That's cool.
Like literally saying my memes out loud, you know, even if they didn't see the picture. And so my family's like, yeah, you know, like my close quarters family, my wife and my daughters and stuff like that, they're more open to it, and they are conscious, I would say, about the government stuff. But you know, they're young, they don't want to hear about it 24/7 like me, you know. So I don't try to like push it on them too hard, but they do know. So I'll come outside one day and I'll say, oh man, they're chemtrailing. You know? Get your jacket, it's gonna be cold. They're chemtrailing. You know, I'll say things like that. And even in going in the store, I'll try to talk to people about the mask. I'll say, hey, do you know the mask doesn't really filter airborne virus? It's good if you're sick, maybe. If you're sick, it could stop droplet contaminants from spreading. That's good, but it won't ever stop you from a deadly pathogen virus like the pandemic supposedly was. And you know, they look at me like I'm an idiot. They're like, yeah, whatever, dude, fuck you, you know. And then my kids sometimes my kids are like, Dad, just leave it alone, just leave them alone, Dad, you know. And it's like, okay, I'll leave them alone this time, you know.
Oh man, you're gonna give me some pointers, some tips over there, because you know I just have a baby, right? She's 5 months old. I'm gonna be that dad as well. Like, hey, you know that you're bathing in fluoride right now, baby. Don't do that.
Exactly. So when my youngest one, for example, I would ask her, hey, Mija, who did 9/11? And you know, the other kids would be like, you know, Osama bin Laden. But then my daughter's like, the U.S. government, you know. So you want to go into school and talk about things like that and say things like that, you know. That's always cool.
That's amazing. I love that, man. You're raising little warriors already, man. Warriors for truth. That's inspiring. That literally just made my day. That we have the next generation already knowing about all this shit. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's up to us, man.
Right? I mean, I wasn't taught that with my family. Like you said, my family is straight up Catholic, very much you know, shut up, don't raise your voice. I was the type of kid that was always like, why are we doing this? And they were like, oh, no, shut up. And my mom was like beating me up, like, why you just shut the fuck up, Pablo? Boom, 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 boom. So we were not taught this, man, right? And the fact that now we get the chance to pass it on to our kids, oh, that's beautiful, because they're very young at a very early stage.
For sure.
By the time they're your age, my age, man, they're gonna be fucking monsters. It's gonna be really cool.
Right, and it can't hurt them, you know, because if they choose to grow up and do their own research, that's only going to give them more power to their knowledge, you know.
Exactly. That's something that I always bring up, that has to do with my ancestors, probably your ancestors as well. Here, the people call it the Aztecs, but they're not the Aztecs, right? The Mexicas or the Toltecs, the Toltecayotl. Have you ever heard about the Toltecayotl?
I've heard the name, yeah, but not too much.
Man, that's beautiful. They had a bunch of beautiful teachings, and one of them is become a person of your own experience, right? It
Okay.
doesn't matter what you talk about, doesn't matter what you say, you have to experience it. So, like you were saying, oh well, you can you can actually give me some advice on how to fuck up the algorithm. But you're not just saying because you saw it on a YouTube video. No, based on how I see my page, that's what's helping me. So that's actually that's why I say you're a real person, right? You're actually a real person, and
Yeah,
it's funny.
appreciate that.
I saw one time on a Insta story, or I think you made a post out of it, like, "Hey, I'm actually a real person." You had to make the post.
Right. That was
What
because
was
of Instagram. They were giving
what
me
was
a
going
hard
on?
time about they were giving me a hard time about my Instagram page. I tried to recover my page that was at 18,000. They
Yeah,
disabled me and they needed proof of me being who I was because
damn.
I only had as like weaponizing truth. I didn't have it as my
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
So when I tried to send in documents of who I was, of course my name's not going to match the weaponizing truth name. And so that's when I had to create like a personal page to have a backup and show them documents of who I am. And then
Wow,
I could start to create these memes
wow,
and
man.
things like that. Yeah. So it's crazy, man. And
That's
some of the algorithm tricks, I did when I built my page was to add different hashtags. You don't want to add too many, but you could add some random hashtag and it's gonna link your post into different explorer pages and different feeds like that.
true.
Those are
That, yeah.
the things.
That's it. So now I want to ask you another question, man. And this is going to be really good for people listening to this because I know that most of my followers, they are or listeners, they are kind of on the fence. They like this shit, but maybe they are not outspoken like you and I, right? They want to create maybe a page like you, or sometimes even share. Some just sharing what they agree with what you're posting. Like, oh man, this makes so much sense, and I actually know that this is true. Let's say the masks, right? I know this is
Mhm.
bullshit, but they're scared of sharing it because of everything that comes along with that, which is being ridiculized or being left alone or alienated. Was the word that I was looking for? Being alienated, and all these things that requires a lot of balls. Literally, what you're doing, because you know that you're literally going against the mainstream. Going and right now with what we're seeing, they're shutting everyone up that doesn't go with what the guidelines of whoever our God, Lord, and Savior Mark Zuckerberg, or I don't know, man, because whatever the fuck that motherfucker says, it's what needs to be said, right? So, how do you keep yourself? I hate the word motivated, but inspired. Better, it's a better word. How do you keep inspired by? Let's say that you get shadow banned, you get censored, people are not watching, but how do you stay inspired to keep doing this and have the courage and the confidence to keep at it, man? And what advice would you give to people that are on the fence?
Yeah, for sure. Some of the motivation where I get it from is I get a couple DMs from certain people like, "Hey, man, I like your content." Even hearing you say, "I love your content, I love your page," that keeps me going, keeps me wanting to keep making pages and more. If they get shadow banned, make more pages, make more content if I need to. That's where I find some of the motivation. It can become frustrating. I took a break for a little while because I'll talk about this for a little while. I don't want to go too deep into it but
Please.
it's I was having other truth pages taking some of my content and like putting their page content names over it
Oh, I saw
and
that.
then promoting products on top of it. And I was like, yo, like that's cheesy, bro, And
Yeah.
and it's just memes and things like that. So there's I guess you can't really do anything too much about it, but it's not really that it's not actually the legality of it. It's actually the principle, and it shows their intentions of where their heart's at and where they're if they're actually trying to spread the truth, if they took the time to do something like that instead of just posting it. And you don't have to tag me or whatever, but just taking your time to take the energy to do that kind of shows your intentions. And
Mhm.
so I kind of took a break for a while. I'll be honest with you. I took a break because I was like, yo, this kind of feels like the Matrix is corrupt, even in the
Yeah.
truth game, bro. Like they're still trying to make profit on the truth.
Yeah.
And
Fuck
so
yeah.
and so it takes energy and it takes time and it takes, like I like actually buy pro apps to actually create content and things like that. So,
Cool.
I kind of like invest into some of the content I create,
Oh wow!
But
So you're actually investing into part of your own money to create these things. This is amazing, man. I didn't know that. That's beautiful.
yeah,
Appreciate your page
I'm buying
diving.
the pro edition apps of the content creators, photo editors, video editors, and things like that, just to kind of help out the content. And I'm only doing it off my phone. If I get more software and more products into it, eventually into the future, it'll get better for sure.
No, it's already good, but yeah, it's gonna be even bigger, man. And I look forward for it because yeah, I mean, I wasn't aware of that, but now I appreciate even more what you're doing because yeah, it's amazing, man. And being in the truth, I said quotes, the truth. How do we even say it, man?
I
I
like to
want
say the true community. You're like, we're in a community of people, right?
And even, for example, also being into a spiritual community, man, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of people out there just trying to mislead you. It's the fucking Matrix, man. It's the Agent Smiths trying to fuck you up, right?
Right, for sure.
But I saw that what you're doing is real. I don't know if it's because I'm very much about that, but every now and then I saw what you're talking about. And I also saw your story that you were pissed off, like, oh, you motherfucker, you're just stealing my shit. Come on, man. Like, yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that it's
Yeah, I'm a
bad.
fighter though, I'm a fighter like that. So I talk shit, I'm gonna say what I gotta say and the way I say it. That's
Yeah.
why I never actually, and then on the topic, people kind of come at me like, I'm supposed to be this monk or some high priest. I said,
No.
hey, I'm not. I never said I was a priest or a high monk or anything like that. So my page actually says weaponizing truth. I never said it was going to come off nice. I never said it was going to be easy. Sometimes people don't like the way I word things, and so that's just the way it's going to be.
What do you think about that? What do we have to say about that? For example, when there's a lot of people that are not your audience or people that don't like how you say it. What's your thought process on that?
Opinions are like assholes, bro. Everyone's got one.
Man, I knew you was gonna be like that.
It's okay, man. I know a lot of things, I actually started thinking of a saying. It's like, if I had it in my bio, I said, you may think I'm wrong, but at least you're thinking,
Oh. Man, I'm gonna quote you on that. That's what's up. Yeah. Exactly. You don't have to like me, but you're still gonna have you not don't have to, but you're gonna listen to my message. And even if you don't like it, you can extract something from it, right? You don't have to love me or anything like that. We're not. I mean, I know that you're not asking for, like an egocentric, egomaniac, like, oh yeah, follow me and give me your likes because I'm your Lord.
Right.
No, you're just, man, I'm sharing my shit, and you like it, boom, share it. You don't like it, then get the fuck out of here, right? It's simple.
Exactly. And going back towards the algorithms, one of the algorithm trick would be to what was I saying? What was I thinking about? Oh, I just lost it.
Don't worry about it, man. It'll come back. It always happens, right? And with me, with my podcasts, and probably if you've seen one of my videos, I always go in circles. So I never go to A to B. No, man, I go boom and I go back and boom, 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 boom. But this is actually something very deep. It may sound like, oh, well, that's just your form of communication. But no, I spent some time with the Lakota people over there in North America. And they taught me that when you're sitting around the fire, right, it's a storytelling. It's one of the most ancient ways of sharing truth, sharing history, and sharing tradition and teaching young people by storytelling, right? Because it's what you're saying with the memes, right? But now in modern times, I love the way that we're now we're upgrading the storytelling around the fire. Now we're using this shit, right? And you're weaponizing your truth. But they taught me that everything needs to be in circle. Everything is in circle. Everything that is in sharp edges, it's evil, right? So even when you're telling a story, it's in circle. You don't do it like boom, 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 very A, B, C. No, it's in circles. So I was like, oh man,
I like that. Like that,
right? Yeah. But dude, I want to talk about something else, and I don't want to take too much of your time. All right, but
oh man, I got all night.
I want to continue to talk because, man, there's so much I want to talk about with you, man. Probably we're gonna have to do another episode, man, because
I would love that.
Everything that I want to talk about, and you're doing it. So, man, it's hard to find. I tell you, I'm also when I started coming off and saying, hey, this is bullshit and all that. My first video on YouTube is shitty as shit. my English was even worse, right? But I was talking in English, like, man, you being angry because I realized that the truth, right? That we're being lied. So I was very, very mad and saying a lot of bad words like you motherfucker, blah, 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 and all this. And that's how I started, right? But now this, even just saying a bad word or sharing truth or something like that, what do you think about? And you can talk about as much as you want or not. I think we live in a society that is very crystal, right? That they get offended by anything. They're easily
Right.
offended by absolutely everything. You make a meme, right? You're trying to make fun of something, and they're like, "Oh, that's offensive. You're triggering
Right.
me," or something like that. I don't know if that
Yeah.
affects your page or what do you think about that, bro?
So the triggering, and when people get, I think that goes back to the cognitive dissonance.
Of course.
They see that and they get mad and it makes them angry because it's like going against everything they're ever taught. So
Yeah.
naturally they're going to get frustrated. And what I think is when they reach cognitive dissonance, they either do flight or fight. And most people don't want to fight because they're already docile and they're calcified with the fluoride. So, that's why people don't want to say anything, I think. And that's kind of like the way it all kind of correlates together in a way, it's just
Yeah.
people don't want to talk anymore or fight.
Yeah. You're right. People don't like confrontation. I talk about that all the time too. People don't like confrontation, even though confrontation doesn't have to be something bad, right? I mean, you could just talk
Or
about it.
physical, right?
Oh, it's actually it doesn't have to be physical. Now, how do you deal with haters, man? Because you probably have a lot of fucking haters because you're doing
No,
right.
a bunch of weed. No, haters. Like I said, bro. I've always had people. Like as a kid, I've always been that guy who's been outspoken and going against the grain. So I'm used to people not liking me. I'm used to people side-eyeing me and things like that. Being the black sheep, like you said. So I'm kind of used to that stigma, and I kind of use it as fuel. It's like, hey, man, fuck you, bro. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna do what I got to do. And people are always gonna say what they got to say. But like you said, I think those are really like the Agent Smith effect. They don't want to. They don't want to see the change. They don't like you being the change. It's a dark
Yeah.
world, man, and people want to smother your light, and we are those light bearers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right. Haters it's like there are fuel. I mean, I see it like this. You have haters because you're actually doing something. If you don't have haters because you ain't doing shit, your message is not coming across, right? So nobody's even watching you. That's why
yeah,
nobody loves you nor hates you. And if we get haters, I was actually when I started, man, I was waiting for my first haters. Like, man, what the hell's going on? Where's my haters? And people telling me, oh man, I love your content. Now fuck that. Where's my haters, man? I want to get my haters because I know that when I get
right.
the haters, that's when I know that I'm actually being out there pissing people off.
And so what the haters don't realize, going back to what you talking about the algorithms, you reminded me. I leave my comment section open to let people hate on me because the more comments that are generated, whether hate or not, the algorithm is going to open it up into the Explorer page. So I would say leave your comment box open, and people are going to say whatever they want to say, but that's okay. If you don't like it, you could always delete it, block them, but for the most part, comments do help with the algorithm.
Yes, you're
So
right.
haters
Yes.
end up hating and they end up helping.
Yeah, but you use it, right? You leverage their hate to make something better, man. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
now I want to talk about maybe let's speak one truth that you want to share. We can talk about the pandemic. We can talk about, I don't know, adrenochrome. I've been talking about this in this podcast for a long time now, but I want to discuss something, maybe dive in a little bit deeper on some truth. What would you like to talk about? Maybe something that you're doing right now, some memes that you haven't on right there. You're just about to post. Maybe you can give us a little preview or something. What would you like? Maybe chemtrails. What would you let's speak one truth, man, because there's a lot.
Yeah, I would say for me personally, it was like one of the first second doors after 9/11 was chemtrails. And that's one of the biggest issues. And it's kind of so obvious, but people don't want to look up, and you can see the characteristics of a contrail. I get a contrail if it evaporates, but you see these chemtrails that don't evaporate and they linger in the sky and they blanket out. And I work outside. I see it happen in like time lapse formation in front of me. And I've actually taken pictures and post, and I'll have to redo this post because this was on my last page. whereas the time lapse photo of a palm tree, and you can see the sprays going past a palm tree, and then it spreads out and blocks out the whole sky.
Damn.
So I would say that one of the biggest things I would kind of go into is, me personally, would be chemtrails. And I actually bet people on the internet, on my social media pages, $50, because it's a reasonable amount of money, right?
Yeah.
If you could prove me wrong that chemtrails is not there, then I'll Venmo you some money, $50. But what's going to happen is, when they look into these chemtrails, they're going to see so much information on it. They're going to be like, "Yo, this dude's right, bro."
Yeah.
And I've had arguments on group pages of chemtrails and on Facebook, and there was one, it was actually a troll page. I thought it was a chemtrail page, but it was just, they were just trolling people who believed in chemtrails. And I would go into this page and this community and have debates with them, and I would send them articles, send them links and things like that, and it would come to a point where I would actually bet them on the internet, $50, you can't prove me wrong. And it would say, why $50? Because it's a reasonable number. No one's going to send you $100. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I could, if I had $10,000, I would put $10,000.
Here you go, $10,000. Yeah.
But I'm a real person, like you said, man. I'm just a real guy, bro. So, but I'm trying to prove this stuff.
Before we continue on the chemtrails, you just reminded me of something that I wanted to bring up, man. Your ability to talk to people, then, right? You mentioned that when you go, I don't know, to the mall, or you're doing your grocery shopping, whatever, and you see people with a mask, and you actually approach them, whereas most people, they don't even talk, right? They no longer have this like social communication, like, hey, you know what? Not to create a fight, right? You don't go to them like, hey, motherfucker, get that stupid mask. You don't go like that, right? Or
No.
That's amazing, man. I don't see that a lot in people in today's world. People don't want to talk.
So what I usually do is, so I kind of do some research into psychology, and I study body language and emotional intelligence and things like that. So I could see somebody and see the type of, maybe the physical posture they're carrying. That I can tell if they're sad, I can tell if they're energetic or whatnot. And, I can go off of those things, but for the most part, I kind of just open it up as a friendly conversation. Hey, how you doing? I just wanted to let you know that, your mask doesn't really stop airborne viruses. And I'll be a nice guy about it, just try to talk to them like a normal person. You don't want to come off, crazy and barking at them. Like you said, the cognitive dissonance is already going to be there. As soon as they hear something that they're not used to hearing, it's already going to be like a wall going up. So you just want to be approaching them in a friendly manner, because humans, we don't want to be barked at and yelled at,
Yeah, we don't want to be scolded, man. Do this, do that. Yeah.
Right. So I kind of look into psychology and the way humans operate, and then you can kind of use that to spread your truth, also to help you spread the truth and approach people.
That's a whole teaching, a whole lecture on its own that we can do. I mean, that's what you're talking about. You said it so simply, you said it so quickly, but it's levels within levels and levels and levels. That's some very, very, very deep stuff that you're saying, because you're right. Learning how to observe people through their body language, your communication, right? They're saying everything that you need, everything. So you don't have to, this is something very important that I want to bring to people that are listening to this, because you think your truth, right? And your truth is your truth is truth, and then there's different perspectives on each truth, even though it's truth, right? But you don't have to impose yourself onto other, right? Because people hate that when you're trying to, no, this is the way that it's done. Then we're no better than the oppressors, even though we're talking about something good and the truth. We're no better than the oppressors, because no, if you take the vaccine, you're gonna die. And well, relax. Remember that you're dealing with a human being, and we're human beings, and we're beings of light. So you just reminded me and a lot of people that you get angry sometimes. I get angry. I still get angry, even though I've done a bunch of spiritual shit. It doesn't matter, man. You still feel like, man, how can people be so dumb? Literally, how can we live in a world where all the information is out there? Literally, you have to be a stupid motherfucker to not know what is happening now, right?
Right.
And it makes me mad, right? But the way that you do it, that's the way. That's the smart way. That's the better way, and that is the way, right? To, hey, come here, man. Hey, come here, man, baby. Let me talk to you. Boom, boom, boom. And this is just the way. And maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it, but you're making them think. You are
Right. Planting those seeds of truth.
critical thinking. I'm gonna call you the critical thinking coach or something like that, because you're doing that on people. That's amazing, man. Man, round of applause.
Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I just try to think of the ways how people, like I said, I go through my own stuff. Like you said, I have my anger issues. I have my issues, personal issues. We all go through stuff. Life's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Where life's a spiritual learning, a physical learning journey that we're on, together. And that's why I say sometimes you don't know what people are going through. They might be going through one of their worst days, and you don't want to be like, yo, they're going through the worst day. And you be like, yo, 9/11 was inside job. Like, you think he gives a fuck about that shit? And he just like, he's about to lose his wife and shit, Like, so you want to
Yeah.
approach people. And that's the way I approach people. I get to know them, especially at work. I get to know them first. And then I'll start to sprinkle in those truths. You don't want to just bombard them. And eventually they're going to push themselves away if they don't want to hear it. And that's fine. People are like, I have met family members or people on my Facebook, and they don't agree with what I post, and that's fine. But they don't have to like it. They can just keep scrolling. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that guy, that crazy guy, supposedly, and that's
Yeah,
fine
yeah.
too.
Hey, man, we're on the same path, so we're gonna be crazy till the end of times, man. Yeah, that happened to me as well, and I had to stop talking to a lot of family members. And even now, I mean, I've been like this for a long time, but even now with the pandemic, where I was even more outspoken, I've always been outspoken like you, but a lot of family members, a lot of in quotes friends were like, "Man, you're crazy." Well, you don't like it, leave, man. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, you like it, that's it. I'm not gonna stop saying what I have to say just because you don't like it. Fuck out of here, man. But
Right. And during that pandemic, we were still ordering everything from China. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could look up receipts in my job, and we were ordering all of our parts from China during the height of the pandemic. Everything from China was coming in, and I was trying to tell people this, and it was back on my other page, but that got shut down. So it's just crazy. I'll have to look it up in my Google file, my Google Photos, and see if I could repost it.
probably
But
gonna get censored. Yeah.
right, and it would say shipped. It would say shipping from, and it would say China, 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 all the way down.
There you go. Yeah, I tell them all the time. It's bullshit, man. I did everything just to prove them. I did everything that you were not supposed to do. I only had to kiss a stranger, like, "Hey, come on," and prove them that nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Man. It's all bullshit.
And so, talking about one of the posts I've been coming up with, I was thinking about, let's see, the pandemic. Oh man, I want to come back to that.
Yeah, we're talking about the chemtrails though, because I think that, like you said, chemtrails is like a gateway, right, for people that are just getting started, and people
Red
are
Pill 101, right?
yeah, exactly. So chemtrails, I think it's a great way to get started. If anybody out there who's listening, you kind of already know, look into chemtrails, right, and realize that what they're spraying. For example, when people tell me, I don't get headaches, by the way, I don't get headaches. People tell me, it's like a normal thing. Oh, I got migraines, I got headaches. Well, probably is because you have a shitty diet. Your system is full of heavy metals and what's the other one? The one that is on the one.
The aluminum.
Aluminum. Yeah, there you go.
Right.
And that's being sprayed, right? So you're literally inhaling that shit. What do you think is going to happen all the time, right? So if you don't do exercise or something like that, yeah, of course. Plus, on top of that, you have a shitty diet. Plus, on top of that, I don't know, you're depressed, or I don't know. It's all a scam, right? It's all set up. But guys, literally get into chemtrails, and it's, dude. Again, I get mad because you just have to look up and see that this is not normal. This is not fucking normal. This is not how a cloud is supposed to look like.
Yeah, I would say one of the best articles for chemtrails would be on Forbes website. Bill Gates chemtrail, or it's actually called Bill Gates Chem Cloud. And if you Google those words or research those words, it's going to pop up as an actual article.
I want to talk about that. I was literally just going to talk about that, and I want to know how much you know about that. That Bill Gates is trying to block up the sun, right? The rays of the sun through the chemtrails that are already happening there. I think he actually went to Oxford or an actual very high level university. By the way, I don't like colleges. I'm against also the educational system, but that's for another talk, man. and they are actually doing research, and he's promoting, and he's of course financing it to block out the ray suns, because the sun is supposed to be evil.
Right.
You always hear that the sun is evil, and I don't know. I don't use sunblocker. I just went to the fucking sun right now. I'm black as shit right now because I was under the sun all the time. I don't get sunburned. I look at the sun. There's something called sun gazing, and it doesn't hurt
Right.
my eyes. On the contrary, it actually helps my vision. What do you know about that? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so the chemtrails, I believe, is a big sinister plot, and it has to do with a lot more than we think it does. It poisons our air, our water, our personal bodies.
Yeah.
And like you said, we get all these toxic chemicals in our bodies from these chemtrails. But what I really think they're doing, on top of the weather manipulation that it also can do, the chemtrails, weather manipulation, poisoning people. Also, it blocks out our sun, which we need the sun to detox our bodies. We need that natural sun rays. And when they spray these chemtrails, I don't believe we're getting the full amount of vitamin D in this that we're supposed to be getting. And so that's a very good way to keep people sick, on top of obviously the chemicals that are coming down on top of them. Now they can't detoxify their skin and their bodies with the natural sun rays. And another reason I think chemtrails is used by the government is when they spray these chemtrails in the air, you cannot use certain cameras to zoom in on certain parts of the world. So it's like a mask. It's like a military blanket that they're using to block out the radars. So you can't see the geographical structures that are supposedly not seen on a spherical Earth, which
Yeah.
kind of correlates to a flat Earth in a way.
Yeah.
Chemtrails block those sites from us. So chemtrails do a lot more than what we think they do.
Damn. Dude,
Yeah.
so okay, let's say that someone who's listening right now, it's fairly new to all this stuff. How would you tell them to go about this without getting crazy, without literally losing your shit? Because it's a lot, right? It's a lot of
yeah.
things. Sometimes you get like, I also from time to time I take a break. I do detoxing from social media. Well, sometimes it's a lot. What do you have to say about that? What would you recommend for people listening?
So what I would say is you want to go where people are comfortable. They know the government, they know the military, they know history. So let's go back to Project Popeye back in 1946, when they were using Project Popeye to spray Agent Orange on the herbicide in the jungles to stop the Viet Cong ambushes from killing our soldiers. And then they wiped out the herbicide, all the vegetation in the jungle with Agent Orange, which is a cancerous chemical, which we know now today is Roundup, with Monsanto and Bill Gates. And they're still using that, and there's still multi-billion-dollar lawsuits with Monsanto and Roundup, but it's still being sold on our store shelves today. So Agent Orange is being sold as we know it, as we speak. And then so you could talk to people about the actual historical facts about that. And then we all know that technology only gets greater as time goes on. So then they had Project Popeye, which was another chemtrail project where they were able to make it rain for 90 days straight by spraying silver iodine into the skies and making it wash out the Viet Cong supply lines and ambush sites and things like that. So those are actual historical declassified documents that prove the government's involvement in chemtrails. We'll call them quote unquote chemtrails because that's the characteristics of the technologies they're using to dispense these chemicals in the air. So those are technically by definition chemtrails because you're spraying chemicals, which are chemtrails, in the sky, which proves chemtrails ultimately, if anybody wants to look up those things in that timeline. And like I said, technology only gets greater. So now what can they do with those chemtrails? And I'm not sure. One more chemtrail I did forget to mention was the smoke screen chemtrails on the ocean, when they were able to smoke screen the whole ocean front out.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you couldn't see the ships and things like that. So those are actual declassified historical events, that prove chemtrails' existence. If you connect the dots anyway and use logic and reason.
How do you do? How do you do it to not go crazy, man? Knowing all this stuff.
You know, even as a kid, I was into graffiti and stuff like that, and one of my nicknames was Logic. And I
Mm.
was they always said, yeah, you're a real logical person, the way you think of things and break things down and talk about things. So I think that was just my character as a kid,
Which is another form of saying you're smart, right?
Yeah,
You're really smart.
I don't think I'm smart.
Ah, yeah, you are, man.
but
Let me tell you.
I try to think of different things and try to keep my brain going for sure. And I
Yeah.
think it doesn't really hurt me. I think it keeps me motivated, because like, man, sometimes I have to put like classical music on or just put music on because my thoughts, bro, will drive me crazy. That's why I made the meme. Like I had the guy with the three eyes rolling his eyes. And, oh man, I forget my headphones. So things like that. That's where I start to think about my content too. If I'm feeling something or if I feel a certain way, I'll just put it into a meme form, and a lot of people will relate to that in a way.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right, man. I love the way that you create because it really speaks to a lot of us, right? That's amazing. But yeah, I feel you, man. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night screaming like, man, none of this is real. Like, oh shit, what the hell's going on,
Yeah.
man? Like literally, my wife will tell you. I literally wake up like, what the man? The Matrix. Oh, I want to rip it up, and like, man, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go crazy as well with all the things that we've been shown and the things that we know, and it only takes, it's like the domino effect, right? It only takes one small piece, and you take down that little piece, and then boom, 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 it's the snowball
Right.
effect. All of a sudden you realize all the nasty evil things that are happening. Man, we're gonna have to do another episode because I want to talk about man, you're the expert on hidden truths, right?
And I appreciate you, brother.
If that's cool with you, I would like to have you again because I wanted to talk about also about pedo wood, about adrenochrome, and all that horrible stuff that is happening, especially north of Mexico, here in my country, right? And you probably see it also in Arizona. There's a lot of um, child trafficking that has to do with
Right.
that.
Right. Human trafficking. We have it really bad up in the Indian reservations where we have in Arizona. Up north, there's a lot of Indian girls coming up missing, and none of them people are really looking for those native girls, and it's not even reported in the media. It's like
Man.
scary, man. And there's more lives being taken by human trafficking than COVID, and no one even bats an eye. No one's putting masks on. No one's doing anything.
You don't hear any media talking about it. No one is even giving a fuck, or even more than Ukraine. I stand with Ukraine. Well, how about you stand with human trafficking, right? I mean, goddamn, how about you
Exactly.
start with that? Yeah, and it's evil. It's nasty. Uh, you probably know about this. One time, I had a friend. Well, we still talk, but we kind of separated a little bit, and he started like listening to me. He was like, man, recommend me something that will really open up my eyes into all the shit. And I told him, research frazzle drip. You know what that is?
No.
Oh man, do it, and it's gonna
Okay.
be frazzle drip. Frazzle drip. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
It has to do with Hillary Clinton. Oh shit, did I say it? Yeah, man. Maybe my fucking podcast will get down. Shit.
Careful, man. That's a dangerous one to cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
made a post about the Clintons, and I promise you, with a week later, my page was acting crazy.
whoa, dude. Let's talk about that. My phone was acting up crazy. People thought I was crazy. That man, you're literally, are you smoking too much weed or what the hell's going on with you? And then I have another friend. Shout out to Brian. His phone was actually acting up strange as well. We were trying to. I was trying to record myself, not trying to make a live, a IG live or what anything. Just trying to record myself. Boom, it'll automatically shut down, or in the middle of the video, the sound would go crazy, like like interference, something like that, or
Right.
it just stopped recording. I'm like, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? And to this day, I'm not allowed to upload certain videos. I mean,
Right.
even if I'm not talking about COVID or anything like that, I'm trying to upload a video on YouTube or on Facebook. It takes, the other day I left it. It took a whole day to upload a video for 30 seconds, something on like a stupid TikTok or something, like a reel that I wanted
Yeah.
to share. It didn't upload, man. Tell me about your experience on that.
And I could tell you some almost paranormal stories about
Oh man, I'm
my
all about
phone.
it.
I've had some issues where my phone just blacks out. Posting takes a long time, and I'm in a good internet connection. Everything's fine, and my phone will act up. And I've had issues too where now this is kind of like my own personal experience, but I believe that we know that there's radiation frequencies coming off of our phones, and I believe that they could tap into certain people's phones and make those frequencies stronger to cause more harm. Because when I'm on my phone, like if I'm on my phone, like researching some crazy shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My frequency from my phone will be going. It feels like it's going into my hand, like maybe I'm holding the phone too long,
Yeah.
but I can't do that. I got to put the phone down. I'm like, yo, I could feel like my hands cramping up. It's like I could feel the radiation in my shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird like that, man. I
You
don't know.
said
Maybe
it.
I'm just too
No,
conscious about it.
I feel you. No, no, no. I mean, it's the first time I'm conscious about it, but you're right. The phone gets hotter for me, way hotter, and it's not like I'm using it for hours. But
Right.
every time I'm doing, and I go to specific pages because you know that you can't research on Google, for example, because it will not show you. I go to, I use, well, I don't even remember what I use, but what's the word? Ecosia, and then there's another one that I use. And I start doing that. I start researching, and then it gets very, very hot. Man, so
Right.
I'm not crazy.
No, man, I'm telling you, there's something
It's
going on. I
happening.
believe there's some type of dark secret program where they're
Yeah.
using this technology to boost, and we
Oh,
obviously know they can listen to us. So imagine what they could do with these radio frequencies, or even directed energy weapons might be in our phones where they could use these frequencies to mess with us. And that's why I personally try not to use a phone for 1 hour before I go to bed, because not only for the Blu-ray technology, but for
yeah.
the radiation and the frequencies that come around it. And if
Yeah.
I wake up in the middle of the night, I try not to look at my phone. I'm not gonna say I don't do it all the time. I need it for work and things like that, so I check messages. But I do try to keep the phone away from me when I sleep. And I wish I could put it on airplane mode, but I'm on call 24/7, so I can't do that,
Mm, yeah.
unfortunately.
That's the way they get you, man. They
Right.
make it so
Slave to the beast.
yeah, you need it to continue to work. So that's how they get you, right? But yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
can go, for example, I don't know if you know about orgonites.
Yes, for sure. I
Well,
love that stuff.
that's one way to block out a little bit. But yeah, you're right. I don't sleep with this shit because if you put it right, people put it right next to their heads when they go to sleep.
Right.
And then they tell me, hey, because they know that I do teas and I'm all about natural herbal remedies and I can't sleep. Well, no shit. No wonder you're sleeping with your phone. I mean, come on, man. Uh,
Yeah.
dude, I wanted to say something else before I'll leave you because I don't want to take, I already took a lot of your time, man. I
Oh,
appreciate your
you're
time.
fine, man. I
Oh,
hope we do
man.
another episode. We've got to do another
No, we
episode.
will. Oh, for sure we will, man. I love the vibe and I love the back and forth. It was really good. But let me see if I can remember. I was gonna say something that you brought up. Shit. I lost it, man. I lost it. Oh, I had it right here. I think we're gonna have to come back to that. It was something that you were mentioning that it was like, oh, it reminded me of something very important that I wanted to discuss with you.
Yeah, we were talking about the human
But
trafficking, and then
well, yeah. But no, 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 it was something else. But well, anyway, if not, we're gonna do another episode, man, because there's a lot to talk about, literally,
this
and
was
I
fun
appreciate
for
that.
sure.
Yeah, it was fun and insightful for sure. And we are inviting people to research on their own, right? To do their own research because everything that you're saying, you're not claiming anything. That I love your vibe. You know, like you're not saying like you like getting like Alex Jones, all angry all the
So
time.
funny.
Yeah, you're inviting people. You know, you're like, hey, you have something cool about your vibe. Like you're like, hey man, I want to learn more. You're so knowledgeable about all of this that you just want to know more. So I could have this conversation with you for probably we could go on for 5 hours and not
Right.
get bored, right?
Yeah, let's do it again,
Yeah,
man, for sure.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So, any last thoughts that you want to give for people listening to this? How they want to, first of all, how they find you? If you have anything going on right now that you want to say right now, you want to plug in. And last piece of advice for people, maybe someone, a young kid that is just getting started into this, what would you tell them to go about all these truths to become more conscious, more aware?
Yeah, for the young youth, if you want to see the change, you have to be the change, and it starts with somebody just speaking up, and that one person speaking up can cause other people to have that confidence and speak up. You could be that light in somebody, and you could be inspiring to somebody, even if a TikTok video meme or something where you're posting some type of content that's going to help somebody in some type of positive way, whether it's like, hey, here's a way to make your food or money last longer, here's a way to make your clothes be better, and things like that. You want to be that type of person in the world. And one of the things I would like to say is that anybody could do what we're doing. You just got to be willing to be the light in the world and be different, and be positive. I would say we're not going to always be positive. We have our light and we have our dark side, but we got to have balance, and I'm just really honored to be here. I look up to your page and the confidence that you've given me, even with the appearance and the way you carry yourself, learning things like that from your page. It helps me out too, man. So definitely you're very inspiring yourself, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. So I hear that, but I always appreciate it coming from someone who's real, right? Like a real person that actually, that means a lot to me. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. So
yeah, you need to see, like, when I see your content, I'll tell you, because the world kind of makes you feel bad for being confident. They say you're being egotistical, you're being a cocky jerk, you're an asshole. It's like, but at the same time, we need those alpha males, those confident males in this world. And when I seen your content, I was like, yo, that's what I'm saying. You could still be confident and still be an alpha male and still carry yourself in class and style, and still be on this conscious wave and still be helping people in a conscious way. So yeah, man, thank you for your content, brother. I appreciate you, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. No, yeah, for sure. You can be all these things. You don't have to be stuck in one, or you're the truth seeker or the spiritual man. You can be all of that. So you and I are the embodiment of everything that we're saying, and I appreciate that, man. I appreciate your honesty and your page. So remember to go to Weaponizing Truth. I'm gonna leave all his links, everything on the description box. If you wanna send him a message, or if you want to go follow him and learn more, a little bit of things that he is researching, I'll leave all your information right there. So if people wanna contact you, that sounds good.
Yeah, and if I ever get disabled, you guys couldn't check me out on my personal page, Larry Herman Parra. My Facebook and my Instagram handles, in case I get disabled again, man. But if not, I'll come back at it and we'll be fighting again. You'll see me again. You won't see me stop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we won't stop. We will not stop. That's for sure. Something that you will see us never stopping. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Remember, this is the Fashion Matrix podcast with your host, Pablo Mentor. Follow me at Pablo Mentor if you can, because this is bullshit. Or I have a backup. The only backup account that I have is mentor.pablo, because it's bullshit. And then @Style Systems. Those are my only accounts. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.